Yeah, the tags. You said something about some tags. Yeah, put that in there. That's right. You don't 300. So we're gonna do good here. Because remember, these bills will not surface again. What else? You said you had to get this boy your design, some stuff that he had to do. You had to get
we needed, but I have to put the price on that.
But you needed,
we priced that out to a lot. It was a lot.
What was it?
That was the $5,000 figure we talking about. So we'll talk about that later.
No.
I think I have a way to get around.
No. You just need to list what it is. It's not about getting around it. You just need to see what it is.
That's so much. Can you write it down?
For your little brain, it is, yes.
I can't wait till that's nothing to me. So one day that'll be nothing.
What?
So one day that will be nothing.
That day's the day. Listen, so we set the advertising budget to Newsmax today.
Okay.
Yes. And you need to follow up and send a nice note to those guys that were here. Because you don't follow, I'm telling you, you don't follow up, man. Today.
I need to use that's why I need to set up the right side email. Because I don't want it to just seem like.
Can't you set up Charlton at rightsidewire.com?
I don't have access to it. Anthony, someone else does.
Anthony, I need you to do something for me.
What's that?
I need to set up Charlton at rightsidewire.com. This staff stuff's not working. I just want him to have his own Right Side Wire email address on the account.
That's fine. All right.
Thank you, Anthony. Also, when you get a chance, I'd like for you to synchronize all my stuff too. It's all here, by the way. All right. Did I lose you? No, it just drops like that. So you'll take in your email address.
You say Bowtown? You said Bowtown? Oh, man.
Anthony.
Yeah.
So, and when you get a chance, I'd like for you to sync all my devices. They all are here.
You got your people there to do that?
No, I only let you do that. I don't let anybody touch all my devices when it comes to that. I'm taking no chances on that. So just
you got a show to do, man?
Huh? We have a show to do, but I have a show to do, but you know how I roll. Okay. Oh, Anthony, I'm live. We'll talk. All right. What are you doing?
Welcome to the Armstrong Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show. Charlton Woodard, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. What's in your news today?
A lot is in my news today. Luckily, most of it's just business, per usual. You can't help but be busy when you're around a busy man like yourself.
Well, thank you for that comment. Logan Delaney, how are you today? Jamal had me a little confused. He had Milo was on there. And I sent him so it is Logan. I want to make sure because I was hoping I was not senile today. Okay, good. Chris, yes, thank you. Chris, how are you today, sir? And thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
How are you pronouncing your last name?
It's Chris Orestes, and
Oh.
I'm the CEO of...
I know you. I know who you are. I just needed to know how to pronounce your last name. I'm going to give you your props. Chris Orestes. Thank you, brother. So, Chris is an industry expert, tells us that your policy can pay for your home care, talking about insurance, and whether can your life insurance help you before you die? That's the interesting question. Chris is joining us, and Chris, you're the CEO of Life Care Funding, which has been converting life insurance policies into FDIC protected senior care benefits plan for more than 5 years. You know, people don't like to talk about death, but we all should get used to it. Can your life insurance help you before you die, before your death?
Well, you know what, that's exactly what it is. People who own life insurance policies of any type, it can be a term life policy, a universal life policy, a whole life policy, even a group life policy somebody might have kept after they retired. Everybody who owns a life insurance policy has the legal property ownership right to convert that death benefit into a living benefit and use it to help them pay for long-term care of any form they might want. Home care, assisted living, nursing home care, any form that they would choose.
What is the best life insurance policy that can make that happen?
Well, you know, our company, as you said, we've been doing this for over 5 years. We see a lot of people who will contact us with policies that are either universal life or term life. That seems to be two of the types of life insurance that have been sold the most in this country over the years. And what we're doing is we're working with families who have bought these policies going back for many years now. The idea is you may have bought a life insurance policy 20 or 30 years ago to protect a young family in case something might happen to you. But today you go forward and now you're in your 70s, your 80s, and you're looking at now needing long-term care. Your young family's grown up, they're financially independent, and quite frankly now they're starting to worry about how to help you. So that life insurance policy too often is being thrown away by the senior. They think either I can't afford to make these premium payments anymore, or it's an asset that will count against them for Medicaid eligibility. And so they will let policies lapse, or they'll take very small amounts of cash surrender value. If you do that, the life insurance company is not going to have to pay you a death benefit in the future. In essence, you've thrown that policy away. Instead, they can use their legal right to turn that policy into something that will help them pay for care today.
Logan?
I think life insurance is one of those things that it's pure sin. A lot of things don't really think the nature of life insurance really changes. And if people are rational about it, this is from my own personal belief. People are rational about it, that would have a term life insurance that young, unless it's cheap. And then you just sort of forget about it when you're older, unless it was very special.
Yeah,
Chris?
what we see too much of is families just don't even understand, as Logan put it, they forget about it. They don't even understand the value of the policy that they still own.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I look at it, if you have a whole life insurance policy, which is a life insurance policy that basically where you pay the same amount every year and the premium doesn't go up as you age and are more likely to die, and if there's an investment component to it. You know, the question is, at some point, you know, unless you really need that life insurance policy after your family grows up for some other kind of benefit, maybe what you should do is just cash it in and take the investment portion out, and don't worry about it. When you die, you die. Your family won't need huge amounts of money that they might need when they're when they were younger and were dependent on you to support them.
Chris?
Right. There's a hidden value in life insurance policies that the owners don't realize. A percentage of the death benefit has a present day value that you can access. In essence, families can trade in the life insurance policy's death benefit to get a value today that then can be applied to other uses. Our company focuses on helping families apply that use to pay for home care or senior living or assisted living, nursing home care, whatever the case may be, and set up a benefit account with the value of that policy that protects the money in an FDIC-insured account and makes the monthly payments into their care, and they can choose the form of care they want because they're private pay, as opposed to letting go of the policy, going on to Medicaid, becoming a ward of the state, and having the state choose the form of care and the location of care. What we're trying to do is make sure families stay in control, make those choices, have some financial independence, and maintain dignity in those final years of their lives.
You know, it's interesting because death benefits from life insurance policies are usually left behind for your loved ones, and you don't benefit. I'm trying to figure out how the person that's paying the price for the policy can benefit while they live.
Exactly. And, it's interesting. When somebody buys a life insurance policy, it's because they're trying to protect their family in some financial way in case they pass away. Well, by doing a conversion of the policy when they're moving towards long-term care, which can become an expensive proposition for an entire family, when a mother or father are struggling with how to pay for care, where to go, how they're going to handle that, that's an issue for an entire family usually, not just left to the mother or father by themselves. So when they were young, they bought a life insurance policy to financially protect their family in case they die. Now they're converting that policy and protecting their family again financially because there's expensive costs of long-term care that they're able to take out of that asset that they were going to throw out. And it's still ultimately going towards the goal of life insurance, protecting a family with a financial need.
Kristen, as a practical matter, the only kind of insurance policies where there may be something left are not the annual renewable terms. Annual renewable terms, which are generally the cheapest life insurance policy, and life insurance in its purest form, generally there's no residual benefit once you stop paying the premium. The only ones that do have something left are either universal policies or long-term term policies or whole life policies. Is that correct?
Yeah. When we've worked with families with every form of life insurance that you're touching on, a term life policy can work, but you are looking at the remaining term of it staying in force relative to the remaining life expectancy of that person. Because remember, they're trading in the life insurance policy. They're not paying premiums on any longer. They're getting the benefit of a fully funded account that's going to pay for their care. And to get that, they're exchanging the life insurance policy death benefit, which is being taken over by another entity who's paying the premiums and will eventually collect the death benefit years in the future. So for there to be value, the policy has to be able to stay in force.
Right.
Wow. How can you be an intelligent insurance purchaser and make sure you maximize on all areas of your paying for that policy?
Well, what we're seeing a lot of now is people are buying less long-term care insurance policies. The long-term care insurance market has undergone a lot of disruption in the last decade. Some major long-term care insurance companies have altogether stopped selling the product. MetLife, Prudential, the Guardian, Unum, they've stopped selling long-term care insurance. It's amazing, actually, to think that just as the baby boom population started turning the age of 65 at a pace of 10,000 people a day, the long-term care insurance marketplace would start to contract instead of expand. So what we're seeing is people are migrating towards buying life insurance because they know that while they're younger, there's a death benefit there that protects their family, and then they have the option to convert it into a long-term care benefit in the future. And I think the smart life insurance purchaser is going to look at the cost of a universal life policy or a term life policy that will extend far enough into their old age that it will have value for them in the future.
We're gonna come back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make $100 million or $10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
So, Chris, how do we learn more about you, Orestes, and how people can take advantage of this opportunity?
Well, as you had said, our company's been in business for over 5.5 years. Our company name is Life Care Funding, and that's also the name of our website, lifecarefunding.com. Now, what we tell all families is when you're looking at doing financial transactions, making financial decisions, helping a loved one or yourself with long-term care, you really need to do your research. You really need to be well informed. You want to make sure you understand the differences between Medicare and Medicaid. Things like the fact that a life insurance policy will count against you for Medicaid eligibility. You want to understand options like what we do to help families pay for long-term care. And there's so much out there now on Google and the internet that if a family does some research, there's a lot on our website. We have actually a very heavily trafficked blog by seniors and they're adult children, baby boomers who come and look for good information like this that we're happy to put out there so people are well informed. We encourage them to look at our website and go out there and do your homework. Make sure you're well informed.
Well, listen, we can't thank you enough for joining us, and we look forward to having you back.
Well, I really appreciate having this conversation and talking to your listeners today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the best.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bill Keller, how are you today?
Armstrong, always good, brother.
Logan?
Yeah.
Put your seatbelt on, brother.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys better get your seatbelt on. Fireworks are coming through the phone lines pretty soon.
Put your seatbelt on. Put your seatbelt, Logan. Make sure it's on lockdown. I don't want you to be taken out of here. Okay.
Okay.
So, Bill Keller, tell us the conclusions you've come to from this Trayvon George Zimmerman trial verdict.
Well, number one, I think the whole thing's been a huge distraction, and the conversation that I think should be engaged in is a conversation about parenting, because I've been preaching for the last 20 years that the breakdown of the family and marriage in the family, the fabric of our society, has been the key ingredient to all of the moral and social problems that we've seen over the last 30 years. And we can trace this back. And I think one of the illustrative things about the Trayvon Martin issue that nobody wanted to talk about because they didn't have the guts to was the fact that here's a young man who'd been kicked out of school 3 times in 6 months, once for having stolen merchandise, once for having burglary tools, once for having pot in his locker. The kid was a little over, just a couple weeks over 16 years old, yet smoked pot regularly. He was obviously fascinated with guns and with fighting and violence, which is common in a lot of communities with young men. And my question is, where were these parents? Why weren't these parents as interested in Trayvon Martin when he was alive as they have been since he's been dead? Because I submit to you, if proper parenting would have gone on, we might not have even had this affair happen. And it's not just these parents, it's a lot of parents, because you've got kids growing up, as we've talked on your show in the past, in single parent homes, without a father, without a role model, being raised really by the culture, which is rotten to the core. And nobody wants to have that conversation because it doesn't make the race baiters like Jackson and Ben jealous. It doesn't make those guys any money, so they'd rather just tee off on these type of issues to get people jacked up. But in the meantime, the real problem in society, not just in the black community, in the white community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, is the breakdown of marriage and the family. And I submit to you, it is going against God's plan for marriage and the family over these last 40 years that has led to the moral and social and spiritual decay of this nation.
You know, you're preaching to the choir as far as I'm concerned on that issue. And I'd like to point out one statistic, and that is in 1960, 4% of American children were born out of wedlock.
That's right.
Most recently, that number is 44%. That's an 11 times increase. And if a child doesn't have 2 parents, they're about they're about 90% likely to grow up in poverty.
Yep.
2 people making $25,000 each make $50,000, which is a middle-class family income. A single parent making $25,000 is basically on the borderline of poverty.
Yep.
And so if people want to know what happened to the middle class, start with the family and the breakdown of the family.
That's exactly right. And Armstrong too. You know, you hear all this conversation going on and all the white noise, but people don't want to deal with the real problem, which I've submitted to you on many appearances on your show. It's a spiritual problem. 40 years ago, people went to church. They at least held some sort of values. Now, the better percentage of 2 generations never been inside of a church. They have no understanding of biblical principles, of the way God created things to to happen. And this is the exact argument that nobody ever wants to make when it comes to this whole gay marriage thing. I'm so sick of hearing, well, if we get married, how's that going to hurt your marriage? It's not hurting my marriage at all, but it is hurting society because it's a perversion of God's holy institution of marriage and the family. That's where it's hurting. It's hurting society as a whole.
You know, you're bringing up a very good point, and that is the role of the church over the last 50 years. And if you are a mainstream Protestant or a Roman Catholic, you have seen your church basically... Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Logan. Randy,
Yeah.
I'm going to get to you just Randy, we're going to get to you. Just give me a minute. Let Logan finish. Go ahead, Logan.
If you are a mainstream Protestant or Roman Catholic, you have seen your church basically walk away from the traditional values. They don't hold their parishioners up to the same value standards that the church has held people up to 50 years ago. And as a result, that has also contributed to a big breakdown in our communities.
Randy, are you on the line? Randy.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
How y'all brothers doing?
Fine, thank you for asking.
Hey, Randy.
I'm a bit baffled by the brother that was speaking earlier, talking about
Bill Keller.
Trayvon Martin had burglar tools and a breakdown of society and all of this. Now, I can agree that the churches have swayed toward what y'all call, not me, perversions or whatever. It's a sign of the times. The world changes. We're not living in the same world we're living in, where a man could earn $50,000 on his own, and his wife would have to go out and get $25,000, and the corporation is breaking everybody down. Where we'll give him $25 and her $25. Nobody's talking about that as far as a living wage. We can't send women back home and say, "Oh, well, go find a man for your household, and the $25,000 you were making, we're going to double that on your man. If you ever get a man in your house, we're going to let you earn $50,000 so y'all can remain middle class." Wages are stagnant. Jobs are leaving and never coming back. There's got to be a way for the leaders of industry, manufacturers, stop sending all our jobs to China and going for low wages. Only talking about America. America's losing the fabric. We're losing the fabric because we're outsourcing all the jobs. America has been lost the fabric, and nobody's talking about that.
Well,
if you keep jobs here at home, and if instead of, like I said a long time ago, whenever I call the show, instead of being a multi-billionaire, be happy with being a multi-millionaire and keeping the fabric of society up. If a man can earn a good living wage, he would stay home with his family. How could a man, when his wife got a job making more than him, stay home and hold his head high when they're not hiring young black men? Because as the caller said earlier, oh well, he had burglar tools. He got suspended from school. Every kid gets suspended from school.
That's not true. I never got suspended.
When Trayvon Martin was gunned down, he didn't have burglar tools. He didn't have no weed. He didn't have none of that.
Randy.
So they need to get off of that. Go ahead, brother.
Your first comment was the times are changing, right? Everything that you said after that were testament to the times changing. Jobs being outsourced, industry changing, the fact that women are making more. That's a testament to your first point. And to the point that everybody gets suspended, you know that's not true. So for right now, I think that it's important that we do be more objective about what we're saying. You speak on a lot of
in Armstrong, again, the point I was making is, if I don't know one parent out there listening to your program right now that has any responsibility that wouldn't see warning signs if their kid's kicked out of school 3 times in 6 months for the various things he was, if your kid's smoking pot when he's only 16 years old. I mean, what responsible parent out there would put up with that? Seriously.
Should he be gunned down for that? Should he be gunned down for that?
Nobody said he was gunned down for that. This isn't about whatever the jury decides. This is about parenting. That's the point.
Well, you're talking about a dead child. Let's talk about the living. Let's talk about moving on and protecting the living.
I'm talking about why weren't his parents as involved in his life when he was alive as they have been since he's dead.
You're talking about a dead child, man. Are you serious?
Oh.
There's a lot of white brothers and sisters that got gunned down.
This is why people don't want to have this conversation, because nobody can handle it.
Nobody can handle it. There's white brothers and sisters getting gunned down.
Randy,
There's a lot of white on white crime nobody talks about.
Randy, let me
It's
raise
double
an issue
white on white crime and black on black crime.
Hey,
There's
Randy.
people that live in low income housing, low income schools. There's schools being closed on one end of town and schools being open on the other. You can't tell me that the government that y'all always try to take down and keep taking money out of is siphoning money out of these poor communities. All these things are happening. Why did you vote for Obama then? Why did I vote for Obama? Yeah. Why did you vote for Mitt Romney? I didn't vote for Mitt Romney. I would never vote for a Satan worshiper. No, he's a Satan worshiper. We getting off track, man.
Randy, thank you for calling.
The Israelite society will never be fulfilled.
Randy, thank you. Bill Keller, Logan Delaney, Charlton. We'll be back.
For more information on the Armstrong-Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong-Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong-Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong-Williams.
You know what? With Randy, were we all having the same conversation? I mean, did he really? There is a breakdown with families in this country.
No, I don't think so, Armstrong. I really don't.
You know, it's not a black or white issue here. It's just what happens when you have any breakdown in the family structure.
Well, that's right. And you know, Armstrong, we've
Hello?
had this.
Yes.
Yeah, hello.
Is this Randy? I don't know what's going on. Go ahead, Logan.
It's Logan.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Armstrong?
And Bill Keller, you're still there, right? Bill. Did I lose Bill?
You lost Bill. You have Logan.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Logan. Continue.
Yeah, no. We've had this discussion before about the breakdown of the family, and over the last 40 years, there are a lot of reasons why it has happened. Part of it is, we talked about
it doesn't come back.
What did you say? What did you say, Bill?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to your producer, Armstrong. We were having a little technical problem there. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Logan. Go ahead.
Yeah, part of the breakdown of the family is due to the church, which we mentioned, but part of it is also due to the fact that the world has become global, and with the world becoming global, there has been a change in the economics of labor and what's important in labor and what people get paid for in labor. And if you look at it, you used to be able to make money by being a skilled technician, by being a skilled mechanic, by being a skilled factory worker. Today, you make money, and I'm talking about the average person that's got the ability to do this. You get money by becoming educated, becoming an engineer, by becoming a scientist, by having skills that cannot be where you're using your brain rather than your back. There are a lot of things that happen today in the manufacturing area where you just don't need the same kind of manual skills that people used to get by on.
Logan, I think you definitely are on to a vein of this. But when you're talking about the basic fabric of society, marriage, family, that's got nothing to do really with economics. It really doesn't. It's got to do with how you're raised, what your belief system is. Because listen, we minister people all day long that struggle financially, but they keep their home together. They raise their kids in the admonition of the Lord. They take them to church. We got people are struggling all over the place, but that doesn't change the fabric of society just because maybe economic situations have changed course over the years. And you can trace back to the 50s,
you're preaching to the choir in terms of the breakdown of the family, but I think you run the risk of, by ignoring the economic impact on the family, you're
looking at something that, people get
married? It's much easier to maintain your family structure if you're bringing in a certain amount of income. If you are not bringing in a certain amount of income, and Randy hit on this, if you are not bringing in a certain amount of income as a male, and let's just say you can't get a job, your wife says, "What do I need you for? I can kick you out."
Well,
and get more money from welfare.
But a woman of faith isn't going to do that. And let me throw something else at that, because I have studied this for 20 years. You go back to the 50s and 60s. I know Leave It to Beaver and all that stuff. But listen, most mothers didn't work back then. They really didn't. They stayed home. Dad went out, worked just 3 or 4 jobs to provide for the family. Mom stayed home and took care of the kids. You know what? They didn't have 3 cars in the garage. They didn't have 9 flat-screen TVs. They didn't have 4 Xboxes. They didn't have all that stuff. But you know what they did have? They had a family structure that was healthy and nurturing to raise children in. The economic situations aren't that much different than they used to be. It's our infatuation and insatiability for the things of the world that has just grown out of proportion that forced a lot of this stuff.
You're just being unrealistic. I agree with everything you said, okay, except the conclusion I draw from it is different than the one that you draw from it, okay? And the conclusion is that if everybody else has the same standard of living that you do, and everybody else is working 2 jobs, and all the mothers are staying home, you view that as sort of that's your norm, and you're relatively happy in that situation. But over the last 50 years, things have changed. Women are no longer just sort of sitting around as housewives.
Sitting around? Are you kidding me? Raising your kids is the number 1 job God gave women, and this is exactly the point.
Bill, listen, I let you speak. Let me speak. That's all I ask you, okay? you have the situation with women has changed, whether you like it or not.
No, it hasn't.
Women feel that they have the right and want the ability to go out into the world and take on other kinds of jobs.
And look what's happened because of it.
And the other thing that has happened is, as a result, family incomes have increased. People see that families that have two people working end up having more income, and they're able to have two cars and air conditioning, things that you didn't have in the 50s.
Sure, and the kids suffer because of it. So is that really a good
Bill,
trade-off?
Not all kids suffer. A lot of kids do, but not all kids do. My only point is, let's not get stuck 50 years ago in what our society is like. It's changed. We have to be realistic. Those of us who are sympathetic to what you're saying find it retro and not very helpful.
Well,
if what you're saying is
the problem.
the
And
religion
you just hit on the problem. People have gotten away from traditional biblical values. They've embraced the values of a world that's in rebellion to God and His truth, and they've embraced that lifestyle. Subsequently, the further away from the truth of God's Word, the more problems we've seen created. And women haven't changed. Society has changed. It's just the rebellion to God. And there's not one person over 50 years old that's listening to this program right now that can't understand exactly what I'm saying, because once we got away from God's values and God's truth, especially when it comes to marriage and the family and what our responsibilities are as parents, that's when society has begun this terrible breakdown, and you can blame it on women changing all that stuff. It's people getting away from godly principles and biblical values.
Bill, well, I don't disagree with you. I'm substantially over 50, okay? And grew up in the 50s. And I'm well aware of what life was like in the 50s. And you know something? It wasn't all that great. It's not all it was made out to be. I'm sorry. There were problems.
Look,
if you were black in the 50s, you went to the back of the bus. Okay? If you were a woman, you had no right to go to one of the
no right to go kill
schools.
Your baby, I know.
What's that?
I said you had no right to go slaughter your baby in your womb. I know that. That's a wonderful right they have.
I'm not in favor of abortion. I'm not arguing that. All I'm saying is the world has become secular, and America has always been a secular country. And whether you like it or not, we in this country recognize that people have the right to live their lives the way they want. You may not like it. Bill, hold on a second. You may not like it that somebody doesn't like to go to church, but you've got to accept it. And there are Islamic fundamentalists that don't agree with you and think you should go to a temple. To a mosque.
You, as a black man who's over 50, you know darn well that when you grew up, you went to church. I've never met you. I've never talked to you before, but I guarantee your parents and your grandparents took you to church. I guarantee you probably had a mother and a father that lived together. 73% of black children weren't born out of wedlock back in those days, and you know it. And there was stability because there was a foundation that no longer exists. Am I right or wrong?
I agree with you, with everything that you said. Okay?
I think that we're neglecting the fact that there's much more technology. I think technology plays a huge factor into this. We're getting so many more influences from so many other directions. You're right. Back in that day before I was born, I'm sure the church had a major influence on the community. Now that you can go online or get church from television, there are many more ways to find out what you really believe in. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are realizing that maybe me going to church on Sunday isn't, adding to my bank account, because it's unfortunate that we live in a capitalist society and every month we have bills. And unfortunately,
no, it's not unfortunate. It's fortunate we live in a capitalist society and every month we
unfortunately
have bills.
We have bills, though. I mean, I think that it's unfortunate. I mean, I love the luxuries of the things that I've gotten, but again, I'm 26 years old. I was not alive during the 50s. I have no idea what life was like. I can only, read about it and hear about it. But again, today, money is number one. Unfortunately, not.
There you go, and therein lies the problem.
That's the plain truth, and that's across the board because not everyone believes in God. Not everyone's Christian. Not everyone's a man or woman, and we have transgender now. Like, there's a lot of gray areas now that weren't. I'm just speaking the truth, Bill. There's a lot of gray area that was not acknowledged back in those days.
Hold there, guys. We're coming back. We're coming back. Hold there, Bill. Just hold. We're coming back. Charlton, Bill, Logan, don't go away.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, I grew up, thank God, with a mother and a father. And just the security, just the feeling of having a protector, and a protector in different ways. Someone to just care about your education, to care about your well-being, to talk to you like a man and teach you what it means to be a man, whether it's deer hunting or sloshing through the night in galoshes, hunting for raccoon and feeling snakes bite at your galoshes, or whether it's just baling hay or learning how to drive a tractor, or learning how to plow a mule during a time when they didn't have really tractors, and just the bonding itself, understanding that, you know, people talk about all this stuff about work ethic, but you got to have an example of a work ethic. You have to have an example of respect. You got to have an example of how to bite your tongue, and your father look at you a certain way and you just shut right up. And there was nothing like it when you pleased your father, whether it was catching that ball, that baseball, or catching that touchdown, or scoring well in school. It's just nothing like that reaffirmation. And even if you don't have that, even if your parents are no longer around, even grown men like us continue to have men in our lives that reinforce us, that we may talk to, that sometimes we may get weary about the things that we do, and they help put us back together. There's a source of strength, because the spirit is very important. And if a young man doesn't do that, I'm telling you, if he doesn't have a male role models consistently in his life, and even young women, they're crippled for a lifetime. So this thing about the family, and it is true, when a child is rebellious and out smoking pot and reckless and kicked out of school, I mean, that is, to me, is an indication that his father's not out of the household and the mother has lost control, and there's nothing she can do with him. I mean, when young men rebel this way, it is obvious that they don't. There's something absent in their lives, Logan. Something doesn't exist. Imagine what you have meant to your children, Ryan, and your sons and your daughter, Robin. Imagine what you meant. Imagine if you were not there in that household, what they would have become.
I think it's very important to have a nuclear family, have a man and a woman around.
Well, the woman is a given. The woman is a given. Just the significance of the father.
But I think it's given that both parents are necessary, or if not necessary, are important to raising the kids. Are there children who are raised successfully without a father around? Yes, but very often there are male role models around to help that the children to figure out what life is really like. So you won't get an argument from me on that.
And Bill?
Yes, sir.
Your comments?
Hey, all I can say to what you just said, Armstrong, after being on 100 of your programs over the years, that was the most eloquent thing I think I ever heard come out of your mouth. Amen, amen, and amen.
Well, it's true, and I mean, I think
it is.
I think the media.
And again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, this is foundational stuff that has been lost over the last 40 years. As this nation has moved more secular, as we become more materialistic, as we've embraced the rest of the world that doesn't have the same biblical values that most people in this nation had in their childhood, and as all that's happened, we've seen, and all I can ask anybody in your audience to honestly say, are things really better today than they used to be? I mean, really? I mean, how many people are in prison today? 4,000 innocent babies get slaughtered every 24 hours in this nation. We've got a total perversion of God's holy institution of marriage that's now legal in 25% of states. I mean, really, and we wonder why society is in a spiritual freefall?
Yeah, but I think there's a huge personal responsibility. Obviously, the world has always been the world. There's always been, every end of the spectrum in terms of secularness in the world. So I always harp back on personal responsibility, whether you're a foster child, you're in the world by yourself, but at the same time, if you understand what good is and what it takes to actually achieve.
Not if nobody's there to teach you. What if you got
it has to be taught.
Hey, Bill, let him talk.
Snoop Dogg and those guys teaching you what the world's about. What about that?
It should be taught, but it does not have to be taught. I believe out there's a foster child with no one showing him right from wrong that knows right from wrong. I believe that in my heart. And I believe that when you're a child, you know right from wrong before your parents even tell you.
No.
I believe
there's some things.
That's wrong.
It's not true. It's not.
You
still learning right from wrong.
You made it still do it, but you still know you're doing wrong.
Right now, because you don't have those role models reinforcing what's right and wrong. You turn on TV and you got these rappers out there making millions of dollars.
Wrong. I think there's a difference.
Garbage,
people know that they're doing wrong.
And you got the entertainment industry in Hollywood pushing out, just death and destruction and debauchery, and when the kid has no role model, has no real parental nurturing, and this is what they're exposed to. This is what they think the world's about. They don't know any better.
Bill, I have a dog. Her name is Nikki. when she does something bad, whether I've taught her whether it's wrong or not, she looks at me, she puts her tail behind her leg, and she walks away. She knows when she does wrong. You cannot tell me that my dog knows right from wrong and that children or people don't know right from wrong. Obviously, there's a different end, and you can definitely educate children to have a better sense of these things. But
so why is it? Let me ask you a question then. Why is it every month when I go to prisons around this country and minister to men in prison, why do I hear 1,000 times, if I've heard it once, how they got infatuated with the gangster culture, why they got infatuated with making money and decided to cut corners on Wall Street. I mean, this is what the culture they embraced from the culture.
To an end. Obviously, they felt like they didn't have a chance at getting the American dream the other way, so that was the way that seemed possible for them. So that's what made it right, the end, not the means.
I think Bill is hitting on something. He states it in an extreme way, and I don't agree 100%, but I think there's a kernel of real truth, and that most of us have to learn right and wrong. I don't really believe
you know what?
that it's
and I'm
intuitive.
still learning it, and you're still learning it.
It's not intuitive.
Yes.
What's right and wrong, and it's kind of hard to separate what's right and wrong. What's right and wrong, in many respects, depends on the culture that you're in. It depends on what people are teaching you. I mean, there are some cultures where murder and suicide are accepted. For example, in Japan, if you do something that disgraces your family, it's acceptable to you commit suicide. That's acceptable. That is not acceptable in our society. Okay, there are other kinds of things in various societies. You can go through a number of other examples where there are things that we would find abhorrent, like infanticide, which is acceptable in certain societies, but it's not acceptable in our society. So I don't think that you can just go right out and say there's an inert, something inert in people's faith, or rather in their being, that makes them good. Otherwise, you wouldn't have cannibals in cannibal societies. You wouldn't have some of the primitive societies where
I think we're getting back to the survival aspect of it all. If everyone was on a level playing field, let's say in a community, for example, in a third world country like, I say, Africa, I have read that the most perfect love is in Africa, in a tribe where they have almost nothing. Now, obviously, the elders teach the children, how to survive and how to, what's right from wrong, quote unquote. But again, I feel like the means, there's so many, right from wrong is so relative, and it's pretty much based on whether your means justify the end. And again, to me, all that is saying is that if I kill someone, killing someone is wrong across the board, unless, of course, it's to protect myself or my family or something like that. But to me, it's still wrong. That's what I understand what you guys are saying, and I agree. But to an extent, I really feel like we as human beings know right from wrong.
Well, I will only take umbrage with one comment the other gentleman made about infanticide. When we slaughter 4,000 innocent babies in this nation every 24 hours, I don't know what else you could call that but infanticide. 56 million children have been slaughtered in the last 40 years in this nation. And if that's not enough to bring the wrath of God down on this place, I don't know what is.
But, Bill, there have been many societies where infanticide was not only, practiced, but encouraged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm well aware of that. And this is one of those societies, unfortunately, when you've got an entire television network owned by one of the major networks, NBC, when you've got a 24-hour cable network where you have hosts on that network, some of them parading around as pastors and reverends supporting the slaughter of innocent babies under the guise of women's reproductive health. We know what those buzzwords mean. It's called abortion. When you've got an entire network in this nation that cheerleads and promotes killing innocent babies, you've got a nation that is out of control.
Well, you certainly have a portion of the nation. I think most Americans, statistically, most Americans, somewhere in like about 55%, are against abortion. Okay, most Americans are that way, but there are a portion of Americans who are in favor of abortion. I personally find it pretty abhorrent, like you do, but and I don't support abortion. But having said that, in our society, we have the right to advocate positions, whether we like those positions or not. We have the right to advocate.
Bill,
Absolutely.
Logan, Charlton, thank you all so much for a provocative discussion, and thank you.
God bless you, Armstrong.
God bless you.